Final section of the alarm remote start installation. This is a 2011 Toyota. So far I have the alarm system installed, everything under the hood is done. I'm sure you probably just followed from the fourth version, so I'm not going to bore you. I basically have everything connected except for these last few that I'm going to show you how to do right now. I did do this while I was away, just because it took time. I also did the ground, so I'll go over that real quick. When I ran in my siren wire from outside and I coupled it with the ground from the alarm, I went to a factory bolt, scraped it all down, grabbed the number 10 ring terminal, put it on that 10 mil right there. I also put my starter interrupts. I put it in there with the two butt connectors, loomed it up just so that way if a thief was going to try to steal the car, it would be a little more confusing, hopefully take them a little more time. Not that it's going to be a complete deterrent, but it's better than nothing. Now what I'm going to do is just make these connections. I'm going to try to keep it all together. And again, I'm not an advocator of tape, so if you expected me to use some, you are wrong. I like to do an install so that way if I got to come back and service it, it's going to be easy for me to do so. So I do a lot of this kind of stuff. I also plugged in my antenna, by the way. You might want to catch a shot of that real quick. Right up there, that's the valet switch is built into it, the LEDs and the antenna. It's a 3-in-1 combo. That's running down. And come on down here, and I'll show you. This here is the other end of that wire that I ran down across, and it goes right into my alarm system. Valet switch portion, LED, and the antenna. So now I'm just going to bring these guys over. I'm going to make my final connections of my alarm. Always want to try to find the best way through there. If you ever have a choice, try to follow those factory harnesses. I'll do first. And again, as I go, I do verify my wires to make sure I'm getting the right wires. Brake. Next is going to be this one, my door trigger. The door trigger and my lights, like in my previous video I showed you that I knew when I prepared it that they want to be in the same place. Well, there they are in the same place. So when I twisted them together, it just makes sense and it just keeps it neat. So, start with the door trigger first. I know I move fast, and it seems like I have no fear, but understand I've been doing this for like a gajillion years. You might want to take a little bit more time for it. Because unlike you probably, if I break something I could probably fix it. So there's those connections. All I got left now is my Tach, my locks, and mounting that shock sensor. Programming it. And also the bypass that I'm going to install in this vehicle. I already have that pre-wired and it's pretty straightforward. I may cover it in another video, but that's a whole nother thing in itself. There's so many that are out there. It's impossible to have one video on how to do a bypass and expect everybody to understand and apply it to their own situation, so I'm not even going to bother this time around. This here is for my Tach wire. And again, if you have a choice, try to be as clean as you can when you're routing your wire. Even though it'll be fine to have that extra 3 inches, for me it's not. And if it's your car, take your time and show some pride. Do it right. Right? Right. Okay, so we got that. You have a small problem, door locks are not going to reach, but I think I'll just leave that be for now. I'll come back and do that on my own time. But right there's all my main connections. I mean, if you really want to get, crazy about it, which I probably will later on, is just use this wire loom just like I did there, and just loom it up so that way it's not unsightly. If you ever have to pull this thing down or you get your car serviced, you don't want a mechanic to look at it and say, hey, look what this guy did. Make it look nice. So all this is done. I'm just going to grab this shock sensor. Right now it's set at midway. I will test this out, when I actually start going in there and testing the system. So when you do mount it, put it in a place where you're going to be able to actually adjust it again. Don't put it into a place where you're going to get to it once and probably never again. I usually like to go in this area because it's centralized. It's in the middle of the vehicle. It's going to probably protect the vehicle the best, I think. And since I only have this one, I'm going to try my best to make the most of it. So I'm going to try to find a good spot that's going to pick up. I know that this piece here is going to cover here, so that might not be good. So I think down in here might be my best spot. So I'm going to go with it. And again, that's pretty much everything. This system is ready to be used. Aside from the bypass and having that one connection for the door locks, this alarm is done. So when your job is all completed and everything, hopefully it'll look as good as mine does. And that's it. And if you ever need to get accessible to it, and you make good thought and you place it in a good central location and you keep everything removable with a couple of simple wire ties, this should be great for you forever. And that's about it. If you have questions, send us a comment on the video channel and we'll do our best to help you out.